You think you are falling apart. But what if you are being rebuilt? Right now, it feels like everything is collapsing at the same time. The plans you carefully made, gone. The people you relied on, distant. The stability you felt, shaken. Even your confidence feels like it has cracks in it. You wake up some days and you don't even recognize yourself. You used to feel strong, now you feel fragile. You used to feel in control, now you feel exposed. And deep inside, you're asking the question you don't want to say out loud. Why is Allah letting everything break at once? Slow down. Because what you see as destruction may actually be reconstruction. When a building is too weak to hold more floors, what happens? It cannot just be decorated. It cannot just be painted. It has to be stripped down. Sometimes parts of it must be demolished. Not because the architect hates the building, but because the foundation cannot carry what is coming next. You prayed for more. You asked Allah for elevation. You asked Him for strength. You asked Him to use you. You asked Him to grant you something bigger. But what you were could not carry what you prayed for. The old version of you was too attached to comfort, too dependent on people, too shaken by opinions, too tied to outcomes. And Allah knows that if He gave you the next level while you were still that version, it would crush you. So before He elevates you, He rebuilds you. But rebuilding is loud. Rebuilding is messy. Rebuilding feels like loss. You are not being destroyed. You are being dismantled carefully. Think about your ego. Think about how much of your identity was built on things that could disappear. Your job, your status, a relationship, someone's validation, a certain lifestyle. What happens when those things are removed? You feel empty. You feel exposed. You feel small. But maybe that is the point. Because Allah wants you to stand on something that cannot collapse. Him. When everything around you is stable, it is easy to say you trust Allah. But when the ground shakes, that is when you find out what you were truly standing on. Right now, your supports are being removed. Not to harm you, but to show you what was weak. You depended too much on people. So He let you see how people can leave. You depended too much on plans. So He showed you how plans can fail. You depended too much on control. So He showed you how little control you actually have. Not to embarrass you, but to free you. Because the strongest version of you is the one that says, if I have Allah, I have enough. You feel like something inside you is collapsing. That is your false sense of security breaking. That is your attachment to dunya loosening. That is your ego being softened. And it hurts. It hurts because you built your life around certain expectations. You expected that person to stay. You expected that opportunity to work out. You expected the timeline to make sense. But Allah is not bound by your expectations. He is guided by wisdom. And sometimes His wisdom feels like loss before it feels like mercy. Let's be honest. You do not grow in comfort. You do not grow when everything goes your way. You grow when you are forced to adapt. You grow when you are humbled. You grow when you are stretched beyond what feels comfortable. Right now, you are being stretched. Your patience is being stretched. Your trust is being stretched. Your identity is being stretched. And stretching is uncomfortable, but it increases capacity. If Allah wants to give you something greater, your heart must be able to hold it. If Allah wants to elevate you, your character must be strong enough to survive it. If Allah wants to answer your dua in a bigger way than you imagined, you must not crumble when pressure comes with it. So He trains you, and training is painful. Look at the prophets. Look at how they were built. Nuh, AS preached for centuries without results. Ibrahim, As was thrown into fire. Yusuf alayhi salam was betrayed, enslaved, imprisoned. Musa alayhi salam was raised in the house of his enemy. Our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam lost his parents, his children, his companions, faced torture, boycott, hunger. Why? Because leadership requires strength. Closeness to Allah requires purification. Elevation requires endurance. You are asking for ease, but Allah may be building you for impact. And impact cannot rest on weak foundations. Right now you feel shattered, but broken ground is where stronger foundations are laid. Before a new structure rises, the old one must be cleared. You are in that clearing stage. It looks empty. It looks like loss, but it is preparation. You say, I don't feel strong anymore. Good, because the strongest believer is not the one who feels powerful. It is the one who knows they are weak and leans on Allah completely. You are learning reliance, not theoretical reliance, real reliance. The kind that wakes up at night and says, Ya Allah, I have no one but you. The kind that stops expecting people to save you. The kind that finds sujood sweeter than applause. This is not collapse. This is cleansing. Allah is removing what you thought you needed so you can discover what you actually need, Him. And when you finally stand again, you will not stand the same way. You will not stand arrogant. You will not stand careless. You will not stand dependent on creation. You will stand anchored, calm, grounded, because you survived a season where everything was taken and you still had Allah. And once you know you can survive that, you become unshakable. Right now you feel like you are losing. But what if you are shedding immaturity, shedding illusions, shedding attachments that were slowing you down? Growth often looks like loss before it looks like gain. And the reason it feels like everything is breaking at once is because Allah is serious about your transformation. He is not patching you. He is rebuilding you. He is not slightly adjusting you. He is reshaping you. That takes time. That takes pressure. That takes moments where you sit alone and question everything. But even in that loneliness, you are being watched. Even in that confusion, you are being guided. Even in that pain, you are being loved. Because Allah does not break a believer to abandon them. He breaks them to rebuild them stronger. Stronger in faith. Stronger in patience, stronger in wisdom, stronger in boundaries, stronger in dependence on Him. One day, you will look back at this exact season, the nights you cried, the prayers you whispered, the moments you thought you couldn't continue, and you will realize something. If that had not broken, you would not have grown. If that had not left, you would not have turned to Allah like this. If that plan had worked, you would not have become this person. You are under construction. Construction zones are loud, messy, uncomfortable, but they produce something new. Do not run from the process. Do not label it as punishment. Do not assume you are cursed. You are being prepared, and preparation always feels heavier than comfort. Stay patient. Stay consistent. Stay connected to Allah, because the version of you that will walk out of this season will not recognize the weakness you once had. You are not falling apart. You are being rebuilt. And when Allah rebuilds something, He builds it stronger than before. The delay is not rejection, it is divine protection. You made the dua, you raised your hands, you cried, you begged, you promised Allah that if He gives you this one thing, you will be better, you will be more grateful, you will be closer to Him. Days passed, nothing changed. Weeks passed, still nothing. Now you are fighting a silent thought. Did Allah reject me? You would never say it publicly. But alone at night, you feel it. You see others moving forward, getting married, getting opportunities, finding ease, and you feel stuck. Like you are watching life happen for everyone except you. And the delay feels personal. It feels like you were skipped, forgotten, left behind. But listen carefully. Delay is not rejection. Delay is direction. When a child wants something dangerous, the parent says no. Not because they hate the child, but because they see what the child cannot. You are asking from your position. Allah is responding from His knowledge. You see today, He sees 10 years from now. You see what you want. He sees what it will turn you into. You see the surface. He sees the consequences. You wanted that relationship. You thought it was perfect. You imagined your future with it. But Allah saw the hidden cracks, the character you didn't notice, the pain that would unfold slowly, the way it would pull you away from Him. So He removed it, not to hurt you, but to protect you. You cried because it ended. But what if one day you thank Allah that it did? You wanted that job. It looked ideal, good salary, good image, good future. But Allah saw the stress it would cause, the compromises you would make, the spiritual damage it might bring. So the door stayed closed. You call it disappointment. Allah calls it mercy. You do not see what could have been. You only see what did not happen. That is why the delay feels cruel, because you are grieving something you imagined. But Allah is protecting you from something you cannot imagine. Think about the times in your life when something did not work out. At the time, it felt devastating. But later you realized it was a blessing. That rejection pushed you somewhere better. That heartbreak saved you from deeper pain. That delay forced you to grow. Now imagine how many unseen disasters Allah has already blocked from you. Things you never even knew were coming. Accidents that never happened. People who never crossed your path. Opportunities that looked shiny but were poisonous. You think your life is stuck, but maybe it is being guarded. The hardest part about delay is silence. You pray, and there is no visible response, no immediate change, no sign. But silence does not mean absence. It means trust is being tested. Because anyone can believe when results are instant. Anyone can trust when outcomes are quick. But can you trust when nothing moves? Can you believe that Allah is working behind the curtain? Can you accept that your timeline is not the standard? You are in a generation that expects speed, fast results, instant replies, immediate success. But Allah's system is not rushed. He is Al-Hakim, the most wise. And wisdom is never chaotic. It is precise. Maybe if He answered you immediately, you would not have matured. Maybe if He gave you what you asked for right away, you would not have developed patience. Maybe the waiting itself is the training, because the version of you who first made that dua is not the same version of you now. The delay has changed you. It softened you. It humbled you. It made you more aware of your need. Before, you wanted the blessing. Now, you want Allah. That shift is powerful. And sometimes Allah delays the gift because He wants you to fall in love with the giver. You are focused on the outcome. Allah is focused on your heart. You are asking when. Allah is asking, are you ready? Ready for the responsibility? Ready for the test that comes with the blessing? Because every gift from Allah carries weight. Marriage carries responsibility. Wealth carries accountability. Influence carries scrutiny. Success carries pressure. If He gives it too early, it might crush you. So He strengthens you first. The delay is strengthening. Even if you cannot see it, you are learning patience. You are learning discipline. You are learning surrender. And those qualities will protect you when the blessing finally arrives. Let's be honest. If you had received everything you wanted immediately, would you still be praying like this? Would your sujood be this long? Would your dua be this sincere? Delay creates depth. Delay creates hunger for Allah. Delay removes arrogance. Because when you cannot control the outcome, you are forced to admit your weakness. And that admission is powerful. The delay is teaching you that you are not in control. And that realization is freedom. Because once you stop trying to force life to obey you, you start trusting the one who controls life. Sometimes Allah delays to redirect. You are walking toward one door, but that door is not written for you. If it opened, you would settle for less. So it stays shut and you feel frustrated, but that frustration pushes you to move, to try something else, to grow in a direction you would have never chosen. And later, when you reach a place you could not have imagined, you will see that the closed door was mercy. You are measuring delay by discomfort, but Allah measures it by benefit. He does not delay randomly. He does not forget. He does not overlook. Every unanswered dua is either being stored for you, being redirected for you, or being delayed for a better time. Nothing is wasted. Not one tear, not one whisper, not one raised hand. The delay is not proof that Allah is distant. It is proof that He is carefully writing your story. You feel stuck, but you are being positioned. You feel ignored, but you are being protected. You feel forgotten, but you are being prepared. And one day, when what is written for you finally arrives, it will arrive at the exact moment you can carry it. Not a second early, not a second late. And when it comes, you will realize something. If it had come sooner, you would not have been ready. The delay was not rejection. It was refinement. It was protection. It was love in a form you did not recognize. So tonight, instead of asking, why is it not happening? Ask, what is Allah protecting me from? Instead of assuming silence means no, trust that maybe it means wait, I am arranging something better. Because Allah does not delay without wisdom, and He does not withhold without purpose. The door that did not open might have been saving your life. Trust Him. Even when the waiting hurts, your pain is erasing sins you don't even remember. Right now, you just feel hurt. You feel the heaviness in your chest. You feel the tightness in your throat. You feel the exhaustion in your mind. And if you are honest, You are not thinking about wisdom. You are not thinking about reward. You are just thinking, Ya Allah, why does this hurt so much? You replay the betrayal. You replay the mistake. You replay the loss over and over again. And the pain feels personal. It feels unfair. It feels bigger than you. But there is something happening that you cannot see. Something silent. Something powerful. Something eternal. Every tear that falls from your eyes is not wasted. Every ache in your chest is not meaningless. Every sleepless night is not ignored. The Prophet ﷺ told us something that changes everything. He told us that no fatigue, no illness, no sorrow, no sadness, no hurt, not even the prick of a thorn afflicts a believer except that Allah removes sins because of it. Not even a thorn. So what about heartbreak? What about betrayal? What about the anxiety that keeps you awake at 3 a.m.? What about the humiliation you experienced? What about the loneliness no one knows about? You think you are just suffering, but something is being erased. You don't see it, but Allah sees lines being wiped from your record. Sins you forgot, moments you regret, words you wish you could take back, things you did in weakness, things you did in anger, things you did when no one was watching. You may have forgotten them, but they were written. And Allah, in His mercy, does not always remove sins through punishment. Sometimes He removes them through pain in this world, so you don't carry them into the next. You feel like you are breaking, but maybe your sins are breaking off of you. Imagine standing before Allah on the day of judgment. Imagine seeing mountains of mistakes you didn't even remember. Now imagine those mountains reduced. Reduced because you were patient through pain. Reduced because you endured hardship. Reduced because you cried instead of complaining about Allah. You are paying a price right now, but you are paying it here so you don't pay it there. And the hereafter is longer, forever long. We are so focused on comfort in this dunya. But dunya is temporary. Temporary pain for eternal relief is mercy. But you don't feel mercy when you are hurting. You feel pressure. You feel confusion. You feel overwhelmed. That is human. Even the prophets felt pain. Yaqub A.S. cried until he lost his sight over Yusuf. Our Prophet ﷺ buried his children. He was insulted, rejected, physically harmed. Pain is not a sign of weakness. Pain is part of purification. Sometimes Allah allows hardship not because He is angry with you, but because He wants to meet you lighter, cleaner, closer. You might say, but I already repented. Yes, and Allah forgives through repentance, but He also elevates through patience. There are sins removed through tawbah, and there are ranks raised through sabr. When you choose not to become bitter, when you choose not to rebel, when you choose not to walk away from Allah because of pain, your level rises, your heart softens, your dependence deepens. You start realizing how fragile you are, how dependent you are, how much you need Him. Pain humbles you. And humility is beloved to Allah. Think about it. When life was easy, how distracted were you? How much time passed without sincere dua? How often did you take blessings for granted? Now look at you. You whisper, Ya Allah, from a place you never reached before. You cry in sujood. You beg. You feel small. And that brokenness, that vulnerability is powerful. Allah loves the servant who turns back to Him. And pain often becomes the bridge back. You are not just hurting, you are being purified, you are being softened, you are being cleansed in ways you cannot measure. Right now, you are focused on what you lost. But maybe Allah is focused on what you are losing from your record. There are people who sin and never feel pain. They laugh, they move forward. Everything seems easy. But sometimes ease is not mercy. Sometimes ease is being left alone. Pain for a believer can be a sign of attention, divine attention. Allah cares enough to clean you, to refine you, to remove stains you don't even see. You say, why me? Maybe because Allah wants you higher. Maybe because He wants you closer. Maybe because He wants your akhirah protected. This world is short. It feels long. But compared to eternity, it is nothing. If a few years of hardship remove years of punishment in the hereafter, is that not mercy? But you cannot see the unseen. So you interpret pain as cruelty when it might be compassion in disguise. There is something else. Pain changes your heart. Before this, maybe you judged others. Maybe you didn't understand people who were struggling. Maybe you thought, why can't they just be strong? Now you know. Now you feel it. Now you are softer with others, more empathetic, less arrogant. Pain makes you human, and Allah loves hearts that are soft. Your pain is not random, it is not chaotic, it is not meaningless, it is measured. Every second of it is counted. Every tear is recorded, and nothing is wasted. You might never fully understand why this specific test came, but you can trust that it is doing something beyond what you see. You are being cleaned layer by layer. Some sins are obvious, others are hidden deep inside the heart. Pride, attachment, dependence on praise, love of dunya. Sometimes hardship scrubs those away, and scrubbing hurts, but it heals. You are not being crushed, you are being purified. And one day when you stand before Allah and see what was removed from your record because you endured this, you will realize something. This pain saved you. This heartbreak protected you. This loneliness elevated you. Right now, you just feel the wound, but Allah sees the healing. Right now, you just see the tears, but Allah sees the reward. So do not let pain make you think you are cursed. Let it remind you that you are cared for. Stay patient, stay connected, stay sincere, because your pain is not empty. It is erasing what you cannot see and preparing you for a meeting with Allah lighter than you ever imagined. This hard test is proof you are not forgotten. Right now, it feels like abandonment. It feels like you are walking through something alone. You pray and the sky feels silent. You cry and nothing seems to change. You try to stay strong, but inside you feel tired, and the thought creeps in. Did Allah forget me? You see others smiling, moving forward, celebrating milestones, and you feel like you are stuck in a chapter that will not end. You start comparing. Why is their life easier? Why are their prayers answered? Why am I the one struggling? And slowly, without realizing it, your heart begins to interpret the test as neglect. But listen carefully. Tests are not signs of being forgotten. They are signs of being selected. Who did Allah test the most? The prophets, the most beloved, the most chosen, the most honored. Nuh, AS preached for centuries and was mocked. Ibrahim, AS was thrown into a fire. Musa, AS fled for his life and faced tyranny. Yusuf, alayhi salam, was betrayed by his own brothers and thrown into prison. Our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam buried his children, was boycotted, insulted, attacked and stoned. Were they forgotten or were they being shaped? If hardship meant abandonment, the prophets would have been the most abandoned, but they were the most loved. You need to understand something. When Allah leaves someone to drift without guidance, without correction, without reflection, that is more dangerous than a test. Hardship wakes you up. Hardship brings you back. Hardship forces you to confront your dependence. When everything is easy, you can forget Allah without even realizing it. Comfort is subtle. It makes you relaxed. It makes you distracted. It makes you independent in a way that feels normal. But when hardship hits, suddenly you remember. Suddenly your dua becomes real. Suddenly your sujood becomes longer. Suddenly you feel your need. That feeling of need is powerful because Allah loves when His servant turns back to Him. You think this storm means you were left alone. But what if it means Allah is drawing you closer? A teacher tests the student they want to promote. An athlete is trained hardest when they have potential. Gold is put into fire not to destroy it, but to purify it. Pressure reveals authenticity. If Allah did not care about you, He would let you continue in heedlessness. He would let you drown in distraction. He would let you live comfortably far from Him. But instead, He shakes your world, not to harm you, but to wake you. You feel targeted, but tests are not random. They are precise. This test is tailored to you, to your weaknesses, to your blind spots, to the parts of your heart that needed refinement. You might say, but this is too much. Remember something. Allah does not burden a soul beyond what it can bear. If this test reached you, it means you have the capacity to survive it. You may not feel strong, but the fact that you are still standing, still praying, still listening to reminders means you are stronger than you think. Sometimes you mistake growth for punishment. You mistake pressure for rejection. You mistake delay for abandonment. But elevation requires resistance. A muscle only grows when it is pushed beyond comfort. Your faith is being exercised. Your patience is being expanded. Your reliance is being strengthened. And yes, it hurts. Growth always hurts. Transformation always feels uncomfortable. But discomfort is not cruelty. It is construction. Think about who you were before this test. Your priorities, your attachments, your understanding. Now think about who you are becoming. More reflective, more aware, more cautious, more connected to Allah. Would you have reached this depth without hardship? Probably not. This test is carving depth into you. It is shaping your character in ways comfort never could. And here is something you may not realize. Your struggle may be part of someone else's guidance. Your patience may inspire someone watching you. Your endurance may strengthen someone weaker. Allah does not waste pain. Your story is not isolated. It is part of something bigger. When you are tested, it is not because you are worthless. It is because you are capable of more, capable of growth, capable of a higher level. Allah sees in you what you do not see in yourself. And sometimes He tests you because He wants you to discover it. You think this chapter defines you, but it is refining you. You think this hardship is a sign of distance, but it may be a sign of closeness. When Allah wants to elevate someone's rank in Jannah and their deeds alone are not enough, He tests them, and through patience, their level rises. So this pain might not just be about this dunya. It might be about your akhirah, your eternal home, which is longer than this temporary chapter. Right now, your emotions are loud. Fear, doubt, frustration. But above your emotions is a truth. Allah is Al-Adil, the most just. He is Ar-Rahman, the most merciful. He does not forget. He does not overlook. He does not abandon the believer. If anything, this test is proof that He is actively shaping you. Do not confuse silence with absence. Do not confuse hardship with hatred. Do not confuse delay with neglect. Sometimes Allah strips you of distractions so you can focus on Him. Sometimes He removes people so you can see who truly matters. Sometimes He allows difficulty so you can discover strength you never knew you had. This is not the end of your story. It is a chapter of refinement. And one day, when you look back, you will see how this test changed you, how it deepened your faith, how it corrected your path, how it protected you from worse. You will realize you were never forgotten. You were being formed. Even now, in your hardest moment, Allah is closer to you than your jugular vein, closer than your fear, closer than your doubt, closer than your tears. And if He brought you to this test, it is because He knows you can come through it stronger. So do not interpret your hardship as abandonment. See it as attention, divine attention. You are not forgotten. You are being elevated. And elevation always requires pressure. Allah is emptying your heart before He fills your hands. You are losing things, and it hurts more than you expected. You are losing people you thought would stay forever. You are losing plans you were certain would work. You are losing versions of your life you had already imagined in detail. And the emptiness feels loud. It echoes. You wake up and there is a space where something used to be, a person, a routine, a dream. And you keep asking yourself, why would Allah give me something just to take it away? But what if it was never about taking? What if it was about making space? You see loss, Allah sees attachment. You see emptiness, Allah sees room. Room for something greater. Room for something purer. Room for something eternal. Sometimes Allah removes what you are holding tightly because your hands are too full to receive what He wants to give you. You are gripping the temporary. He wants to give you something lasting. You are clinging to people. He wants you to cling to Him. You are attached to outcomes. He wants you attached to trust. And as long as your heart is full of dunya, there is no space for deeper reliance. No space for full surrender. No space for the kind of faith that changes you permanently. You might not realize how much of your heart was tied to that thing, that relationship, that status, that image, that security until it was removed. And when it left, you felt exposed, vulnerable, unstable. But that exposure is revealing something important. It is revealing what you were depending on. Sometimes Allah empties your heart to show you what was sitting in it. And sometimes what was sitting there was bigger than it should have been. Maybe that person had become your emotional anchor. Maybe that job had become your identity. Maybe that dream had become your source of worth. And without realizing it, you were drawing strength from creation more than the Creator. So Allah in His mercy loosens your grip, not to punish you, but to protect your heart from loving something more than Him. Because nothing in this dunya is stable. Nothing here is guaranteed. Everything here is temporary. If your peace depends on something temporary, your peace will always be fragile. Allah wants to give you peace that does not collapse when people leave. Peace that does not disappear when plans fail. Peace that does not shake when money changes. But to give you that kind of peace, He has to empty out what was false. And emptying hurts. It feels like loss. It feels unfair. It feels like deprivation. But it might be preparation. Think about a cup. If it is already full of something, even if it is dirty water, you cannot pour clean water into it. It must be emptied first. Maybe your heart was full of expectations, full of dependency, full of dunya-driven desires, and Allah wants to pour something purer into it. But first, He empties it. You feel hollow, but hollow space can be filled. You feel alone, but that loneliness might be guiding you to the only companionship that never leaves, Allah. You are being detached from what cannot stay, so you can attach yourself to what never leaves. And that shift is powerful. Right now, you are focused on what was removed, but maybe you should ask, what is Allah teaching me through this? Is He teaching you that people are not permanent? Is He teaching you that identity should not be built on status? Is He teaching you that your worth is not tied to one opportunity? Is He teaching you that He alone is constant? Because once you truly internalize that, you become free from chasing validation, free from fearing loss, free from depending on unstable foundations. When your heart is anchored in Allah, loss still hurts, but it does not destroy you because your core is stable. You are grieving what you lost, and that is natural. Islam does not deny pain. Even Yaqub A.S. cried until he lost his sight. But grief and growth can exist together. You can miss something and still trust that its removal was wisdom. Sometimes Allah empties your hands so you stop obsessing over what you are holding and start focusing on who is holding you. There is something deeper happening here. When something leaves your life, it forces you to confront your priorities. It forces you to sit with yourself. It forces you to evaluate what truly matters. Before this, maybe you were busy, distracted, emotionally dependent. Now, in the quiet, you are thinking, reflecting, reassessing, and that reflection is growth. You are being reshaped internally. You are learning that nothing in this world was meant to complete you. Completion is not found in people, not in achievements, not in milestones. It is found in closeness to Allah. Everything else is a bonus or gift, but not the foundation. And maybe Allah removed something because it was slowly becoming your foundation. He loves you too much to let that happen. You feel empty right now, but empty space is sacred. It is where dua grows. It is where reflection deepens. It is where sincerity increases. It is where tawakkul becomes real. Before, you may have said you trust Allah. Now you are forced to live it. And living tawakkul feels different than talking about it. It feels vulnerable. It feels uncertain. But it also feels real. You are learning that even when your hands are empty, your heart can be full of iman, full of reliance, full of surrender. And once your heart is filled with that, what Allah gives you next will not control you. It will not define you. It will not own you. Because you already learned how to survive without it. That is power. When you can lose something and still stand, when you can grieve and still pray, when you can feel empty and still trust, that is strength. Maybe Allah is not just preparing to give you something better in dunya. Maybe He is preparing you for something greater in akhirah. And that requires detachment. Because Jannah is not for hearts enslaved to dunya. It is for hearts attached to Allah. Right now, you are in the in-between, not where you were, not yet where you will be, just empty. And it feels uncomfortable. But do not rush to fill that space with anything temporary. Do not run back to what was removed. Do not patch the emptiness with distractions. Let Allah fill it. Let Him rebuild your heart. Let Him place something stronger inside you. Because when Allah fills something, it does not leave scars. It leaves peace. You are not being deprived. You are being prepared. Prepared to hold something without worshipping it. Prepared to love something without losing yourself in it. Prepared to receive a blessing without making it your God. Allah empties your heart before He fills your hands. So when He finally gives you what is written for you, you will hold it lightly, gratefully, without fear, because you already learned the lesson of loss. And loss did not break you, it built you. Trust the empty space. It is not the end. It is the beginning of something purer, something deeper, something stronger than what you lost. The night is long because your sunrise will be massive. Right now, it feels like the night will never end. You go to bed heavy, you wake up heavy. Even when you smile in front of people, there is something sitting in your chest, a weight, a quiet sadness, a question that keeps repeating, how much longer? You have been patient, you have tried to stay strong, you have made dua more times than you can count. And still, the darkness feels stretched. It feels unfair. It feels exhausting. You look at your life and think, why is this taking so long? But let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how different the sunrise feels after a long, dark night? When the night is short, you barely notice the morning. But when the darkness drags on, when it feels endless, when you are staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wondering when relief will come, that first light hits differently. It feels earned. It feels powerful. It feels emotional. The longer the night, the more powerful the sunrise. Right now, you are in the night, and nights are quiet. They are lonely. They are filled with thoughts you cannot escape, but nights are also where dua rises, where sincerity deepens, where conversations with Allah become raw. You are meeting a version of yourself in this darkness that you never met in daylight. The strong mask is gone. The distractions are gone. The noise is gone. And it is just you and Allah. That is not an accident. Allah brings certain servants into long nights because He wants to shape them there. Daylight is where you perform. Night is where you transform. In the day, people see your strength. At night, Allah sees your vulnerability, and vulnerability builds something powerful. You feel delayed, but delay stretches your capacity. You feel tired, but endurance builds depth. You feel unseen, but Allah sees every second. The Quran reminds us, indeed with hardship comes ease, not after hardship with it. Meaning, while you are in this darkness, ease is already being prepared. You just cannot see it yet. Think about the Prophet ﷺ in Mecca. Years of rejection, years of pressure, years of hardship. The boycott, the loss of Khadija, the loss of Abu Talib, the year of sorrow. Did it look like relief was close? No. It looked like darkness. But what came after? The migration, the establishment of Medina, victory, expansion, impact. But that massive sunrise came after a long night. You are measuring your night by discomfort, but Allah measures it by preparation. There are things He is aligning, people He is moving, situations He is arranging, doors He is preparing. And if they open too early, they would collapse. If relief came before you were ready, you would mishandle it. So the night stretches, not to punish you, but to strengthen you. The night teaches you patience in a way comfort never could. When everything is easy, you do not dig deep, you float. But when the darkness surrounds you, you search for light. You search for Allah. You search for meaning. And that search builds intimacy with Him. You are learning to survive without immediate results. You are learning to trust without visible proof. You are learning to walk forward even when you cannot see far ahead. That is powerful. The sunrise that is coming will not just change your situation. It will change you, because you will not receive it as someone naive. You will receive it as someone who survived the night. And survival creates gratitude. You will appreciate what once felt normal. You will cherish what you once took for granted. You will handle blessings with maturity. But if the night was short, you would not have learned these lessons. You keep thinking the night means Allah is distant. But night is when tahajjud exists. Night is when dua feels deeper. Night is when sincerity grows. Night is when hearts soften. Night is when you realize how much you need Him. Maybe this long night is building a relationship between you and Allah that ease never could. Maybe the darkness is clearing your vision. Because sometimes when everything is bright, you miss the stars. You miss subtle guidance. You miss reflection. Darkness forces focus. And focus produces clarity. You are clearer now. Clearer about who you can depend on. Clearer about what actually matters. Clearer about your weaknesses. clearer about your need for Allah. That clarity is a gift, even if it came wrapped in hardship. And understand this, the longer something takes, the more significant it often is. Small things happen quickly. Big transformations take time. Massive shifts require patience. Allah is not rushed. He is precise. He does not operate on your impatience. He operates on perfect wisdom. You might feel like you are behind, like life is passing you. But what if your timing is different because your story is different? What if your sunrise is not ordinary? What if it is massive? What if it changes not just your life, but your heart permanently? The night feels endless when you are inside it. But every night ends. Without exception, no night has ever defeated the sunrise. And no hardship has ever outlasted Allah's decree. You are in a chapter, not a conclusion. This darkness is not permanent, it is purposeful. And when the light finally breaks through, it will break through at the exact moment you are ready to appreciate it, ready to handle it, ready to protect it. Until then, survive the night, pray in it, grow in it, cry in it, but do not assume it defines your future. The sunrise is coming, and when it does, you will realize something. The night was not against you. It was preparing you for a morning that will change everything. Hold on. The darkness is temporary. The light is written. You are being prepared for a level you prayed for. Be honest with yourself. You asked for more. You asked Allah to elevate you. You asked Him to increase your rizq. You asked Him to strengthen your iman. You asked Him to remove toxic people. You asked Him to make you better than who you are right now. You asked for growth. You asked for closeness. You asked for impact, but you did not ask for the process. You wanted the level, not the lifting. You wanted the strength, not the strain. You wanted the reward, not the resistance. But every level has a cost. Every elevation has weight. And Allah does not raise someone without preparing them to stand at that height. Because if He raises you too quickly, you will fall just as fast. Right now, you feel stretched, uncomfortable, pressed from every direction. And you are asking, why is this happening? Because preparation does not feel like promotion. It feels like pressure. Think about someone training for something greater. An athlete does not wake up strong. They are pushed. They are exhausted. They repeat what hurts. They lift what feels heavy. They fall. They get back up over and over. Not because the trainer hates them, but because the trainer sees potential. You prayed for a stronger faith. So Allah is putting you in situations where faith is required. You prayed for patience. So Allah is placing you in delays. You prayed for discipline. So He is removing distractions. You prayed to be closer to Him. So He is stripping away what was pulling you away. And now you are uncomfortable, but growth is uncomfortable. A seed breaks before it becomes a tree. Muscles tear before they grow stronger. Gold is heated before it shines. And hearts are tested before they rise. You are not being punished. You are being prepared for a level your current version could not handle. Imagine if Allah gave you everything you asked for last year. Would you have managed it properly? Would you have stayed humble? Would you have stayed consistent in prayer? Would you have remembered Him when life became smooth? Maybe not. So He strengthens you first. You think you are stuck, but you are in training. Training does not look glamorous. It looks repetitive. It looks exhausting. It looks lonely. It looks like effort without applause. But training builds capacity. Right now, your capacity is expanding. Your emotional capacity, your spiritual capacity, your mental endurance. You are learning how to handle disappointment without collapsing. You are learning how to trust without seeing. You are learning how to move forward even when things feel unclear. That is preparation. Allah does not waste potential. If He is stretching you, it is because He intends to use you. If He is refining you, it is because He sees something greater in you. You might not see it yet, but He does. There is a version of you that is calmer, stronger, more grounded, less attached, more sincere, more disciplined. And this season is building that version. You cannot skip levels. You cannot bypass growth. If you want elevation without preparation, you are asking for collapse, because higher levels bring heavier tests, more responsibility, more scrutiny, more expectations, more accountability. If your foundation is weak, the higher you go, the more dangerous it becomes. So Allah strengthens your base. He strengthens your patience. He strengthens your tawakkul. He strengthens your character. And sometimes that strengthening feels like breaking. You might feel like you are losing people, but maybe Allah is removing those who cannot walk with you to the next level. You might feel like doors are closing, but maybe the next level requires different doors. You might feel misunderstood, but maybe the next level requires independence from approval. Preparation often isolates you because growth requires focus. Focus requires separation. You are being separated from what no longer fits your future. That hurts, but it is necessary. You are being detached from the comfort that would keep you average because you prayed not to be average. You asked Allah for more, and more requires maturity. You asked Allah to use you, to guide you, to elevate you, and elevation requires weight. Right now, you feel the weight, but that weight is building strength. You are learning discipline. You are learning to wake up even when you feel low, to pray even when you feel numb, to continue even when results are slow. That consistency is powerful because the level you are praying for will require consistency. You cannot lead without resilience. You cannot carry blessings without stability. You cannot hold influence without humility. So Allah is teaching you quietly, through experience, through pressure, through delay, through struggle. You are becoming someone different. You may not notice it day to day, but look at how you react now compared to before. Look at how your thinking has shifted. Look at how your reliance has deepened. That is growth. And growth is preparation. Preparation is rarely comfortable. It feels like stretching beyond your limit. But every time you think, I can't handle this, and then you survive it, your limit expands. Your capacity increases. Your resilience strengthens. And Allah knows exactly how much to push you. Not beyond your breaking point, but beyond your comfort zone. Because comfort zones do not create elevated believers. They create stagnant ones. You are not stagnant. You are evolving. You prayed for a higher rank in Jannah. Do you think that comes without tests? You prayed for closeness to Allah. Do you think that comes without purification? You prayed for impact. Do you think that comes without struggle? The Prophet ﷺ did not receive influence before endurance. He endured. He was patient. He was rejected. He was tested. And then Allah elevated him. Elevation follows preparation. You are in the preparation stage. It feels long. It feels unfair at times, but it is precise. There is nothing random about your struggle. Every difficulty is teaching you something. Every delay is shaping you. Every challenge is strengthening a muscle inside you that you will need later. And one day, when the level changes, when the doors open, when the relief comes, you will realize something. If it had come earlier, you would not have survived it. But now you can, because you were prepared. So stop seeing this season as a setback. See it as training. Stop seeing it as rejection. See it as refinement. Stop seeing it as abandonment. See it as advancement in disguise. You are being prepared for a level you prayed for. And when you finally stand there, you will thank Allah for not giving it to you too soon. You keep asking, when will it happen? But maybe the real question is, who do I need to become before it happens? Because the dua you made did not just ask for a new situation. It required a new you. You asked Allah to change your life. But life does not change without you changing first. You asked for influence. But influence requires emotional control. You asked for success. But success requires discipline. You asked for marriage. But marriage requires patience, maturity, and responsibility. You asked for wealth. But wealth requires restraint and accountability. You asked for closeness to Allah, but closeness requires sacrifice. The level you want cannot be handled by the habits you still have. It cannot be carried by the mindset you are still holding. It cannot survive with the emotional instability you are still fighting. So Allah prepares you, not just externally, internally. He reshapes your reactions. He reshapes your thinking. He reshapes your priorities. And reshaping hurts because it challenges your ego. It exposes your weaknesses. It forces you to confront parts of yourself you avoided. Right now, you are being confronted with yourself, your impatience, your overthinking, your attachment, your fear of loss, your dependence on validation. And that confrontation feels uncomfortable. But without it, you would carry those weaknesses into the next level. And the next level would break you. Allah does not elevate someone just because they desire it. He elevates them when they are ready to sustain it. You think you are waiting for the blessing, but maybe the blessing is waiting for you to become stable enough, grateful enough, disciplined enough, humble enough. If Allah gave you what you wanted right now, would you manage it wisely, or would you misuse it emotionally? Would you forget Him when things became easy? Would you lose consistency in prayer? Would you slowly drift? Allah sees that possibility, and He loves you too much to let you self-destruct. So He slows things down. He allows pressure. He allows tests. Not to delay your future, but to secure it. You are being trained for sustainability. Quick success without preparation creates collapse. Quick blessings without maturity create arrogance. Quick elevation without purification creates downfall. Allah is not in a rush because He is not building something temporary in you. He is building depth, and depth takes time. Right now, you are learning lessons you will need later. Lessons about boundaries, lessons about emotional regulation, lessons about trusting Allah when outcomes are unclear, lessons about patience when answers are delayed, lessons about letting go. These lessons are not random. They are tools, and you will use them. You may not see where yet, but you will. The version of you who started this journey was different, more reactive, more fragile, more attached to control. Now you are being stretched. You are learning to breathe through discomfort, to sit with uncertainty, to trust without immediate proof, to continue even when motivation fades. That is growth, and growth is not glamorous. It is repetitive, it is silent, it is unseen. Most people quit in this stage because they misinterpret preparation as punishment. They think if it is hard, it must mean they are doing something wrong. But sometimes difficulty is confirmation that you are being shaped for something higher. The higher the building, the deeper the foundation must be. You want a high-rise life, but foundations are built underground, hidden, unseen. Mesu. Before the structure rises beautifully, there is digging, there is dirt, there is disruption. You are in the digging phase. It feels like loss, but it is groundwork. You cannot skip it, because if your foundation is shallow, your future will be unstable. Allah wants your next level to last, not to collapse under pressure. So He strengthens your core first. He removes your reliance on applause. He removes your fear of loneliness. He removes your obsession with timelines. He removes your dependence on specific outcomes. And what remains? A heart that says, Ya Allah, I trust you. That heart can handle elevation. That heart can survive both success and failure. That heart is stable. You are becoming stable even if it does not feel like it. You are becoming less reactive, more reflective, less desperate, more grounded. You are learning that not everything needs to happen immediately. You are learning that delay does not equal denial. You are learning that discomfort does not equal destruction. These are qualities of someone ready for higher responsibility. The level you prayed for is not just about receiving. It is about carrying. Carrying influence without pride. Carrying blessings without attachment. Carrying responsibility without complaint. Carrying leadership without ego. And that requires inner work. You are in inner work season, and inner work is quiet. No one applauds it. No one says it, but Allah sees it. Every time you choose patience over panic, every time you choose prayer over giving up, every time you choose trust over doubt, you are strengthening. The level you prayed for requires someone who can survive storms without losing faith. And look at you, you are still here, still praying, still listening, still searching for understanding. That means you are not breaking, you are adapting. And adaptation is preparation. One day, when your circumstances shift, when the relief arrives, when the doors open, you will not react with arrogance. You will not react with recklessness. You will respond with gratitude, because you know what it felt like to wait, because you know what it felt like to almost give up, because you know what it felt like to sit in uncertainty. That memory will protect you from pride. That memory will protect you from ingratitude. That memory will anchor you. Allah is not just preparing your future. He is preparing your character. And character determines how long you remain at the level you reach. You prayed for elevation. Now you are in transformation. Transformation is not comfortable, but it is necessary. You are not being delayed, you are being developed. And when development is complete, elevation will not feel overwhelming, it will feel earned. And you will realize something powerful. The waiting was not wasted, it was building someone capable of standing where you once only dreamed of standing. You are focused on the outcome, the marriage, the job, the stability, the relief. The moment everything finally works out, you think that moment will change your life. But what if the waiting is what's actually changing you? You think the win will define you, but the wait is shaping you. Right now, you are in a space where nothing feels settled. You cannot see the full picture. You cannot control the timing. You cannot force the door open. And that lack of control is uncomfortable because you like certainty. You like knowing. You like progress you can measure. But Allah is teaching you something deeper than progress. He is teaching you surrender, and surrender cannot be learnt in comfort. It is learnt in waiting. Waiting exposes you. It exposes how impatient you are, how attached you are, how easily shaken you are. It exposes the parts of your heart that still demand control. And that exposure is not to shame you, it is to refine you, because the level you prayed for requires emotional maturity. It requires someone who does not panic when things slow down. It requires someone who does not crumble when plans shift. It requires someone who can trust without constant reassurance. Right now, your waiting is building that stability. You are learning to sit in uncertainty without running. You are learning to feel discomfort without making impulsive decisions. You are learning to continue obeying Allah even when results are invisible. That is not weakness, that is discipline. And discipline is rare. Most people worship Allah when life is good. Few remain consistent when life is unclear. You are being trained to be part of the few. The wait is stretching your patience. And patience is not passive. It is active trust. It is waking up and choosing faith again. It is making dua again. It is showing up again, even when nothing seems to be moving. That repetition is building strength inside you. Think about who you were before this season. Would you have handled silence well? Would you have handled rejection with composure? Would you have handled delay without spiraling? Probably not. But now, you are calmer than before, more reflective than before, more aware than before. You are not reacting the same way. That is growth. You are being trained in emotional control, because the next level will test your emotions more than your circumstances. If Allah gives you influence, people will criticize you. If He gives you success, people will envy you. If He gives you stability, you will be tested with responsibility. If you cannot handle waiting calmly, how will you handle pressure gracefully? So the waiting becomes preparation. It becomes rehearsal. You are rehearsing trust. You are rehearsing patience. You are rehearsing surrender. And these rehearsals are making you ready. You think the reward will be the biggest blessing. But sometimes the biggest blessing is who you become in the process. Because the win can be temporary, but the character you develop stays. The job might change. The relationship might evolve. The circumstances might shift. But the patience you built, the resilience you gained, the discipline you formed, that stays with you. And that will protect you long after the excitement fades. You are becoming someone who is not easily shaken. Someone who does not need constant validation. Someone who can sit alone and still feel anchored. That kind of stability cannot be bought. It is built, and it is built in seasons like this. Seasons where nothing feels dramatic, nothing feels glamorous. Nothing feels immediate, just quiet growth, slow shaping, deep internal restructuring. You may not see dramatic change, but subtle change is happening. You are less desperate, less reactive, less controlled by fear. You are starting to say, if Allah wills, and actually mean it, that is power. The level you prayed for requires someone who can say Alhamdulillah in both delay and delivery. You are learning that. You are learning to worship Allah for who He is, not just for what He gives. That is a different level of faith. Before, maybe you worshipped with expectation. Now you are learning to worship with surrender. That shift alone is worth the wait. And understand this, when Allah delays something, it is never random. It is calibrated. It is measured. It is intentional. Every extra day of waiting is shaping something in you. Every moment of uncertainty is polishing something inside you. You are being stretched beyond your old limits. And stretching feels uncomfortable, but stretched capacity means expanded strength. When the blessing comes, you will not hold it with desperation. You will hold it with balance because you learned how to survive without it. That is freedom. To want something deeply, but not let its absence destroy you. That is spiritual maturity. And maturity is required at higher levels. The win will be beautiful, but the wait is sacred because the wait is where Allah is working on you quietly, carefully, lovingly. You may not understand every part of this season, but one day you will look back and realize, if it had come earlier, I would not have handled it this well. If it had happened sooner, I would not have been this grounded. If it had arrived before this transformation, I might have ruined it. But now you are different, stronger, calmer, more surrendered. The weight did not weaken you, it built you. And when the level finally changes, you will not just receive it, you will be ready for it. Lesson 8. What broke you is about to elevate you. There is something that hurt you deeply, something that changed you, something you did not see coming. It could have been betrayal, it could have been rejection, it could have been failure, it could have been loss. But whatever it was, it shook you. It made you question yourself. It made you question people. Maybe it even made you question your direction. You felt embarrassed. You felt exposed. You felt small. You thought this ruined everything. But what if it didn't ruin you? What if it refined you? Right now, you only see the damage, but you don't yet see the development. Pain feels like destruction when you are inside it. But sometimes pain is separation. Separation from illusions. Separation from false confidence. Separation from people who were not meant to stay. Separation from habits that were holding you back. You thought that experience broke you, but maybe it broke your dependence on the wrong things. Maybe it broke your attachment to approval. Maybe it broke your fear of being alone. Maybe it broke your obsession with controlling outcomes. Sometimes Allah allows something to break so something stronger can emerge. Look at glass, it shatters under pressure. But look at steel, it is forged in fire. Heat does not weaken it, it strengthens it. The question is not whether you were burned. The question is what you are becoming through the fire. You felt betrayed, but now you are wiser. You felt rejected, but now you are less dependent on validation. You felt humiliated, but now your ego is softer. You felt abandoned, but now you know how to stand alone with Allah. Those are not small changes. Those are foundational shifts. Before this, maybe you trusted too easily. Maybe you attached too quickly. Maybe you believed words without looking at actions. Now you see clearly. Now you move differently. Now you protect your heart. Pain gave you discernment. And discernment is elevation. You thought you lost something valuable, but maybe what you lost was actually limiting you, limiting your growth, limiting your vision, limiting your closeness to Allah. Sometimes Allah removes what feels essential because it was preventing your expansion. You thought that opportunity defined your future, but maybe your future is bigger than that door. You thought that person was your happiness, but maybe your happiness cannot depend on someone unstable. You thought that failure ended your path, but maybe it redirected you to a better one. You are not who you were before that pain, and that is not a tragedy. It is transformation. Pain changes you, but it does not have to harden you. It can deepen you. It can humble you. It can elevate you. The difference is how you respond. If you let pain turn into bitterness, it will shrink you. If you let pain turn into reflection, it will expand you. Right now you have a choice to see yourself as broken or to see yourself as rebuilt. Allah does not waste pain. Not a single tear, not a single heartbreak, not a single disappointment. Everything is recorded, everything is accounted for, and everything can be used for your elevation. Think about Yusuf alayhi salam, betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a well, sold into slavery, falsely accused, imprisoned. From the outside, his life looked shattered, but every stage of pain was positioning him. The well led to the palace, the prison led to leadership. What broke him in the moment was building him for authority. If he had not been betrayed, he would not have reached Egypt. If he had not been imprisoned, he would not have been recognized. What felt like ruin was actually routing. You may not be a prophet, but Allah still writes with wisdom. The thing that embarrassed you may build humility you will need later. The thing that slowed you down may protect you from rushing into something harmful. The thing that hurt your pride may protect you from arrogance when success comes. Sometimes elevation requires ego death. You cannot rise while clinging to an inflated self-image. So Allah lets something humble you, and humility creates space for real growth. Right now, you feel changed, and maybe that scares you. You feel more cautious, more guarded, more thoughtful. That is not weakness, that is awareness. You are not naive anymore. You are not easily impressed anymore. You are not easily distracted anymore. Pain sharpened you, and sharpness is necessary at higher levels. You thought the breaking meant you were finished, but sometimes breaking means you are being reshaped. Clay must be pressed before it becomes strong pottery. It must be spun, stretched, shaped, then placed in fire. Only then does it become solid, useful, resilient. You are in that process. Spinning, pressing, heating. It feels unstable, but it is purposeful. The thing that made you cry at night is building a version of you that will not crumble easily again. You are learning boundaries. You are learning discernment. You are learning self-control. You are learning reliance on Allah instead of people. Those lessons are elevation. They are internal promotions. You are not the same person. And that is the point. The old version of you could not carry what is coming. So it had to be broken, not destroyed, transformed. And one day when you stand in a better place, stronger, calmer, more grounded, you will realize something powerful. If that had not broken me, I would not have grown like this. If that had not hurt me, I would not have woken up. If that had not ended, I would not have been redirected. What broke you is not your ending. It is your pivot. It is your training ground. It is your elevation in disguise. Right now, you only see fragments. But Allah sees the full design, and He is not breaking you to discard you. He is breaking you to develop you. The fire you walked through is forging a stronger version of you. And when the time comes, you will rise from what hurt you, not as someone damaged, but as someone disciplined, not as someone bitter, but as someone wiser, not as someone destroyed, but as someone elevated. You keep wishing it never happened. You replay the moment, you replay the conversation, you replay the mistake, and somewhere inside you there is a quiet sentence. If that didn't happen, my life would be better. But what if that moment is the very thing Allah is using to reposition you? You see a wound. Allah sees a doorway. Right now, you are focused on what it cost you. The peace, the confidence, the relationship, the opportunity, but maybe you are not seeing what it gave you. Clarity, awareness, maturity, dependence on Allah. You would not have chosen this pain. No one chooses humiliation. No one chooses heartbreak. No one chooses failure. But sometimes what you would never choose is exactly what you needed, because comfort was keeping you asleep. You were moving but not evolving. You were surviving but not transforming. And then something happened that shook you. It exposed cracks. It shattered illusions. It forced you to confront reality. And now you are different, more careful, more observant, more reflective. That difference is not weakness. It is refinement. Pain has a way of stripping away exaggeration. It removes fake confidence. It removes shallow attachments. It removes the illusion that everything is permanent. You thought certain people would never leave. They left. You thought certain plans could not fail. They failed. You thought you were untouchable in certain areas. You were touched, and that realization humbled you. Humility is elevation because arrogance blocks growth. When you think you know everything, you stop learning. When you think you are untouchable, you stop preparing. When you think you are secure in creation, you stop relying on the Creator. That breaking moment reintroduced you to your need for Allah, and need is powerful. Before the wound, maybe you were strong in appearance. After the wound, you are strong in depth. Depth matters more because depth cannot be shaken easily. Surface confidence disappears under pressure. Depth survives storms. You are developing depth through something you wish never happened. Think about this. If that betrayal had not happened, would you have corrected certain boundaries? If that rejection had not happened, would you have redirected your focus? If that failure had not happened, would you have discovered your weaknesses? Sometimes Allah lets something collapse, so you stop building on unstable ground. You might have been climbing a ladder, but it was leaning against the wrong wall, so Allah shook it. You fell, it hurt, but now you can reposition it properly. That fall might have saved you from climbing higher in the wrong direction. You are interpreting the pain as loss, but maybe it is redirection. Maybe the door that slammed shut was protecting you from settling. Maybe the humiliation was protecting you from arrogance. Maybe the heartbreak was protecting you from dependence on someone who could not carry you. Pain exposes reality. And reality, even when painful, is mercy. Because truth allows correction. Illusion keeps you stuck. You are not who you were before, and that is uncomfortable. But transformation always feels unfamiliar. You may feel more guarded now, but you are also more aware. You may feel slower to trust, but you are also wiser. You may feel less naive, but you are also more stable. These are not signs of damage. They are signs of development. Allah sometimes breaks your heart to rebuild your standards. He sometimes removes people to reveal your worth. He sometimes lets you fail to teach you humility before success arrives. You are being trained for longevity. Quick wins without character create quick collapses, but pain that builds character creates sustainable elevation. You might not see the full purpose yet, but pieces are coming together. You are less desperate for approval, less willing to tolerate disrespect, less controlled by emotion. That growth is quiet, but it is powerful. The wound you hate is building muscles in your soul, emotional muscles, spiritual muscles, mental muscles. And when you step into your next chapter, you will not step in fragile. You will step in fortified, because you survived what you thought would end you. And survival creates strength. You thought it would break you permanently, but you are still here, still praying, still hoping, still trying. That alone proves something. You are stronger than you believed. The wound did not destroy you. It exposed you. And exposure is where healing begins. Healing is not just about feeling better. It is about becoming better, more disciplined, more aware, more connected to Allah, more detached from illusion. The door Allah is using may not look like a blessing yet, but sometimes doors look like disasters before they reveal direction. Yusuf A.S. did not see leadership when he was in the well. He saw darkness, but that darkness led to destiny. You may not see destiny in this wound, but Allah does. He is not finished with your story. He is not done shaping you. He is not done elevating you. And sometimes the fastest way up is through something that humbles you first. What broke you is about to elevate you. Not because pain is magical, but because Allah uses everything with precision. The wound is not the end, it is the pivot. And pivots change direction. Your direction is shifting. Your heart is maturing. Your foundation is stabilizing. And one day, you will look at what hurt you. And instead of saying, that ruined me, you will say, that rebuilt me.